You've probably seen the headlines. Jimmy Kimmel fired after remarks about Charlie Kirk's death. But what if fired is too simple a word? What if this moment is about something far bigger? About who gets to speak, who gets punished for speaking, and what that reveals about power, identity, and success in America. Today, we're going to dig into why ABC suspended Jimmy Kimmel's late-night show, what it tells us about media, politics, and censorship, and what lessons we can pull from this, not just about comedy, but about truth, freedom, and human values. If you believe words still matter, if you believe free speech is more than a slogan, subscribe now, share this with someone who cares, and comment your thoughts. Because this story isn't just Kimmel's, it's ours. Here's what we know so far. Jimmy Kimmel's Jimmy Kimmel Live was suspended indefinitely by ABC after he made controversial remarks about the killing of conservative activist Charlie Kirk. Kimmel had suggested that many in MAGA land are working to minimize the shooter's responsibility, shifting blame and scoring political points. Nexstar Communications, an ABC affiliate group, said it would pull the show from its stations. ABC confirmed the preemption. Federal Communications Commission Chair Brendan Carr criticized Kimmel's remarks as misleading, offensive, and insensitive, and flagged that broadcasters must align with community values. The pressures are political, legal, social. Meanwhile, critics say this is about free speech being constrained. Supporters say there must be accountability when speech crosses into misinformation or political manipulation. So was Kimmel fired? Probably not in the literal payroll sense, but suspended, silenced, preempted. This distinction matters. It's a case study in what happens when opinion meets power, when speech meets consequence. Let's zoom out. What does this remind us of? The tension between speech and power is ancient. Philosophers from Cicero to John Milton warned when authority dictates what is acceptable speech, thought is endangered. Milton in Areopagitica wrote about censorship, that silencing one voice is to rob humanity of discourse. Voltaire's repeated aphorism, "I disapprove of what you say, but I will defend to the death your right to say it." These weren't just about polite debates. They were about the very architecture of democratic society, because free speech isn't just a tool. It's a test of resilience, of trust in the citizen to question, challenge, dissent. In America, the founding documents, the First Amendment, the Revolution itself, were built on the belief that individuals must have the liberty to speak, criticize, challenge, that success, power, status should not shield one from critique. Here's where this becomes relevant to your life, your view of success, and how systems shape behavior. Jimmy Kimmel is powerful. He has status, audiences, influence. When he speaks, millions hear. But with that reach comes risk. If you critique power, you risk backlash. If you're successful, people want your silence or your allegiance. Success today doesn't only mean wealth. It means platform, visibility, influence. The more successful, the more exposed, and the more expectations to conform. Kimmel's case shows that speech is not free of cost. Political pressure, regulatory threats, network decisions, all can silence even someone famous. Philosophically, this aligns with Nietzsche's will to power, not just the drive to climb, but the pressure that comes with being seen and heard, and the shadow of Foucault's ideas about power knowledge, that who controls what is allowed to be said, controls what is believed. Let's examine what this does to how people think, speak, and engage. Self-censorship. People see what happened to Kimmel and ask, can I speak without consequences? That fear changes what stories are told and who tells them. Polarization. When only safe speech is allowed, nuance dies. Everything slides to extremes because moderate voices are drowned out by outrage. Distrust. When official bodies, regulators, broadcasters are seen as enforcing political correctness or ideology, trust erodes. People believe media is not neutral but weaponized. Identity and group behavior. Those who support Kimmel see him as defending free speech. Those who oppose him see him as irresponsible. Each side reinforces its own narratives. There's no perfect answer. Speech has consequences, but censorship, or what some call preemptive silencing, is dangerous. Some key questions. What responsibility does a public figure have when their words can influence millions? Who decides what is insensitive, misleading, or offensive? Is it network executives, regulators, the public? Is it lawful or ethical for regulatory bodies like the FCC to apply pressure on media companies to remove or prevent speech? Case in point, Brendan Carr, FCC chair, has suggested that ABC might risk broadcast license issues. That introduces government power into media content decisions. Many see that as overreach. Balance is needed. Freedom of expression, yes. Harmful misinformation, yes, it must be challenged. But which speech gets blocked? Which gets defended? How we make those decisions? These are the battlegrounds of values. Let's connect this to deeper human behavior patterns. Humans naturally seek approval. When you broadcast ideas, you hope for praise or agreement. But the backlash for speaking unpopular truth can punish you. Many choose silence to avoid that pain. Social conformity. When network affiliates pull a show, when regulators threaten consequences, people shift behavior, not because they agree, but because survival, career, platform, reputation demands it. Success, again, becomes double-edged. As success increases visibility, it increases vulnerability. Vulnerability to criticism, political retaliation, economic pressures. Psychological safety disappears when power can quietly enforce silence. Then individuals and even institutions alter their behavior, not because of internal belief, but external threat. What should you take from this? Guard your voice. Speak your truth. But be mindful, recognize the stakes, but don't allow fear to quiet you. Question power. Always ask, who benefits from silencing this speech? Who wants to control narrative? What does success look like when your ability to speak freely is compromised? Support platforms that defend speech. Engage, share, donate, because free speech isn't just about the person speaking. It's about the network, the media, the institutions that allow speech. Build personal resilience. Criticism, backlash, they may come. Learn to withstand them. Shape your values so you don't change just to be liked. Jimmy Kimmel's suspension isn't just a headline. It's a warning. It's a reflection of how success, speech, and power intersect in weird, sometimes dangerous ways. It tells us that in today's world, speaking truth is not only performance, it's risk. That success brings reward and a spotlight. And when you're in that light, your words can be used as evidence against you. Ask yourself, what truths are you holding back, not because you're uncertain, but because you fear the backlash? If you want more videos like this, digging into truth, power, speech, behavior, then subscribe, share, and hit that like. Drop a comment. What would you say if you knew there was no backlash? Because maybe the most courageous act isn't just what you say, but that you said something at all.